Hello, my name's Amanda. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about fear, crippling, terrorizing, sudden fear that can happen on a path of spiritual awakening. And you can be somebody who's generally pretty calm, generally not afraid of the dark. And while we are going through layers of spiritual awakening, layers on the path, we can be making great strides. And very suddenly, we can be overtaken by what feels like paralyzing, primordial fears and terrors. And I would say that sometimes this is beyond feelings of anxiety or a low lying kind of tension. This is like a very powerful force that comes through to our experience. And sometimes people find that this starts to happen to them if they've been meditating for a while and they're going into kind of deeper meditations. It can happen in a ceremony, a plant medicine ceremony, or another type, any other type of spiritual circle. And a lot of people can feel really devastated, feel like they're a failure, feel like they're going backwards, they've done something wrong, they're not strong. And what is actually happening is you've been really dedicated to your own path. You've been dedicated to watching yourself and connecting with parts of yourself that are new or haven't been seen in a long time, and doing a lot of good work, maybe a lot of spiritual practice, meditation, just silencing. And that can be okay for the ego for a while until it starts, that part of you that is ego, that part of you that is the old self, the little I, realizes, wow, this person is serious. This person isn't just going for, a weekend spiritual retreat. This person is actually starting to bring a new reality into their lifestyle. They're actually serious about change. They're serious about being able to silence themselves and put the outside world and its ways on a little bit of a lesser priority than before. And so there are junctures that can spring up suddenly and out of the blue where massive quantities of fear and terror can just come in a really paralyzing way. And definitely turn the volume up on like full blast on the inner critic, and cause you to question your connection, cause you to question if you're on the right path or doing the right thing. And so, first off, it's usually a sign that you are, because you've triggered one of these kind of like fear forces that doesn't want you to give up your old ways, doesn't want you to give up the ego priority. And it can be really hard in the moment to feel resourced. There's some great practices, especially when it comes to breathing, coming back to the breath, pranayama, to kind of get through those things. But for the long term, just knowing that this is something that happens, this is just par for the course, can be really helpful to keep in mind that everybody who really is serious about stepping into their true self and following the way, the narrow way, the skinny gate, that they are going to encounter paralyzing fears and terrors at some points of the journey. Just knowing that that is part of it, and so that you haven't done anything wrong. You've probably been practicing and doing something right. And there are some really awesome teachers out there. One is Kat Courtney. She talks about acceptance. She talks about acceptance when it comes to intense fear, and accepting that it's passing through for that moment, accepting that it's not going to stay forever. But while it's here, instead of resisting and pushing it away, because what we resist persists, accepting that it's passing through and that it's not us. it's a part that doesn't want to let go. It's a part that really, really is trying to protect us and not have change come, because change is scary for the ego. Um, Teacher Sarah Alcati talks about becoming intimate with fear, becoming intimate with fear. And so we don't attach onto it. We don't start manifesting more of it when we become intimate with fear. What we do is we commit to, for this temporary time when the fear is big, to sit with it and be with it as much as we possibly can. And there are times, especially when these big fears first start coming through, that sounds absolutely impossible, and that's absolutely okay. It's pretty normal to experience like a shock the first times these things happen, and not feel that you can sit with it and not feel resourced. That's part of it too. And then after it shows up on and off, over the years, we get to a point where we realize, actually, I've been through this before and I'm okay. Like it didn't do anything to me. I wasn't harmed by it, but it's extremely intense. And so at those points, when we can kind of accept that this is just part of the experience, we can practice becoming intimate with the fear and just noticing its power. We might feel like we have to sit down or lie down or close the door or cancel plans or something like that. That's pretty normal. And just practicing as much as possible being with it and feeling, wow, like my stomach is tightening up so much. My appetite is gone. My heart is racing. I feel like I want to die. I feel very alone. Just really noticing all the things that are happening in this temporary, terrorizing experience. And over and over and over, when we practice this, anytime terrorizing fear comes up, there becomes slowly and over time more of the true us, more of the awareness and the beingness and the values and the character of who we are starts to grow, and the identification with the terrorizing fear becomes less. It doesn't mean that it goes away permanently, but it becomes more obvious to see it for what it is. Definitely, it's not us. It's not the true self. And the true self that is you just starts to witness it more and starts to realize that it's a sign that you have kind of passed a threshold, or you're passing through a threshold that maybe you haven't passed through before. And it doesn't really matter why it comes up. I mean, noticing what has triggered it, noticing what you've been up to before it comes through, noticing any change that you've made, and kind of giving yourself a pat on the back for making those changes or for showing up in the presence of those triggers. Like, congratulations. You had the courage to do something, go somewhere, talk to somebody that maybe you would have been really frightened to do, just not done at all years ago. And coming back to that acceptance of the temporary nature of it, watching it, becoming intimate for that moment while it's there without fear of the fear, experiencing it, just allowing it to just be present without resisting it for as long as you can, and knowing that who you really are, the true self, is not rattled at all by the fear. It's the ego, it's the parts of us that need tenderness, that need support, and need to know that there is a true self, there is a real parent, there is a grown-up here that is getting bigger and louder, and the character and the values and the presence of that awareness, that grown-up part, that connection to our higher self becomes stronger and stronger and stronger every single time you're able to experience the passing through of that terror with more acceptance and with more intimacy. And the great thing about this is there are many, many men and women who have gone before us, who have practiced this for many, many years, and whose true self, whose higher self, starts to really penetrate more and more of those people's beings, so that when those terrors do come through, they are still severe, they're still intense and often unexpected. But the big part of us becomes so big that it becomes really a lot more simple to handle. And it's not something that we immediately need to go and resist. We can literally witness it passing through. And something that I do sometimes when this comes through is imagining my body as, a body of light, a body of Christ light, and that whatever temporary fears or terrors want to pass through from the small ego, they are welcome to be absorbed. They're welcome to dance in that light. And the truth is, every single time I welcome them to dance, eventually they fizzle, they move on. They're not really interested in the light of God and the light of Christ. They're looking for a situation that is a match to them, a human being that wants to stay deep and entrenched in terror and fear, so that they can kind of like swim and swamp around and be manifested that way. But if you are sharing your light and you're sharing your awareness and you're sharing your dazzling self with any force that comes through, that comes by, eventually it will not be a match, and it will be very temporary, and it will not stay. And as you practice and do that over and over, you become a container, a being that is making more room for the higher self to be present, to be part of life. And sometimes after the passing through, after the wave moves, there's a real empowerment that comes, a real depth, and you start to notice, wow, like there's a lot of terror and fear in general in most people around me. They just might not be seeing it. They might be in their addictions. They might be self-medicating. They might be talking a mile a minute and not able to keep any silence. And that's their way of managing that deep fear and terror. They don't maybe feel it the same way as someone who's quite sensitive and who is on their spiritual awakening path, but they're just navigating it in a really earthly way. And so that fear is part of all of our experience in the collective unconscious. You're just becoming more conscious of it. And so the things that we become conscious of, we learn to take responsibility and to accept and become intimate with while they pass. And then you notice the people around you that are not managing fear and terror as well. You become a little bit more of a rock. You become a little bit more adept in the passing through of things. And fear and terror are such powerful, strong things that if you become a little bit more adept in that passing through of them, it strengthens these parts of you so that other things that come along that might not even be related to fear specifically, but they're difficult in some way, you'll realize that your resistance is built up. Your ability to hold and be with and be present with other difficult things is actually really enhanced because of your practice of being with fear. And this can be particularly hard for people if they are in the dream state. It can be really hard to face powerful fear in the dream state. And this is something that can really catch a person up and make them a little bit, you're just really shaken up when you wake up in the morning and just wonder, okay, what's going on here? And it's a practice over and over. When you wake up, coming back into your body, coming back and really congratulating yourself for getting to the point where fear had to show up in the dream to try and stop the you that is growing. Remembering that is a good sign of your development, and knowing that nobody does it perfectly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who a person is. No one's doing it absolutely perfectly and seamlessly. We are often initially feeling a big shock at fear and terror, and then we're going from there. It's just a matter of not staying forever and manifesting and going deeper into it. It's feeling that initial shock of it, and then over time, and more quickly over time as these things happen, moving from the shock to that acceptance and intimacy, and bringing the light into the experience, inviting that fear into the light where it will not want to stay. I promise you, it will not want to stay. So don't beat yourself up if you become just really, really all over the place and really discombobulated and shocked when big fears come in. It's really not about not being shocked. It's about recognizing what's going on, and over time, more and more quickly going to those resources of intimacy and acceptance and shining awareness and shining light. So yeah, if it's showing up in the dream state, just getting really good at, when you wake up, calming yourself, giving yourself a pat on the back, recognizing that you're at probably new levels, and these guardians of the threshold are not wanting you to move on and are testing you, the parts of you that don't want to change. They're really testing you, like, are you really ready for change? Are you really strong enough? Are you committed to your path? And the answer is yes, of course you are. So it's like a part of you testing another part of you. And if it's coming on in meditation, there are some people who really relax very well into meditation, and it's a really great part of their day, their practice. And then other times in our meditation journey, we can sit to meditate, and these big fears seem to overtake us there. And it's like, whoa, I thought meditation was for relaxation. I thought yoga, is for relaxation. But what we're doing is we're literally, in meditation and yoga and other practices, we're sometimes waking up forces that are holding us back, that we're not really aware of, that are in the unconscious. And so in order to progress, in order to become stronger, we've got to wake up those forces that are in the way of us moving forward. And when they do wake up, especially in yoga and meditation, they can be really powerful. And so again, the practice is going back to acceptance. It's going back to being intimate with whatever has woken up in your practice, and noticing its temporary nature, and not being hard on yourself, not thinking something has gone wrong, but to know that something has gone right, and that you're probably on the precipice of a new chapter, a new way of being in the body, a new level of awareness, and to be really proud of that, to know that this is all part of it, that you haven't gone wrong, and that you're moving ahead, and these are signs of moving ahead. Yeah. So everyone, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and comment. And in your journey, when fears and terrors come, know that you are in great company, and there are many powerful titans that have walked before us over the years, letting us know that this is the way, and that that you haven't gone wrong. Thank you, and journey well.